and welcome back to the video on the rest of this week and to another edition of NXT 2.0 out of 10. And yeah, we've got a stacked show this week, loads of matches, big debut in the women's division, and yeah, of course last week we crowned new tag team champions, Pretty Deadly, so yeah, they've got a big role in the show as well. So lots going on in this show, and let's get straight into it. NXT Tag Team Champions Pretty Deadly kicked off the show, and before we saw Braun Breaker show up in the parking lot, the new Tag Team Champions celebrated the win, but were interrupted by GYV. The two teams argued before GYV said that they were overdue a title shot, but Legado were out next and attacked GYV before Elektra Lopez said that they demanded a title match as well. The referees tried to break up the brawl before Braun Breaker came in running. He called out Joe Gacy, who took over the show's camera feed, and told Breaker to come and find him. I mean, this was a chaotic start to NXT. Lots going on, but yeah, it kind of all matched itself out later on in the show. Before backstage, Carmelo Hayes and Santos Escobar set up a match to decide who would get the next shot at the North American title before we got Tiffany Stratton versus Saray. Stratton started things off with a big kick before Saray hit an arm drag. Saray then hit a drop kick and Stratton hit a hip attack. Stratton then went for the Cobra Clutch but took the double stomp off the top rope. She then hit a running drop kick before getting a corkscrew Vader bomb for the win. And yeah, to be honest, this gets a 5 out of 10 from me. I just feel like we've seen it so many times now, and yeah, it is just getting a bit repetitive really. Before Braun Breaker was backstage and was looking for his dad Rick, he followed the sound of his voice in an empty room with an iPad playing a video of his dad. Before Indy and Persia were backstage, they challenged Pretty Deadly to a match. The new tag team champions all already accepted before realising the challenge was actually on behalf of Dexter and Duke. Once they realised the champions made themselves scared, before Grace Muller was backstage and said that Sanger was dead weight and caused him to lose the match, Andre Chase and Bodie Hayward showed up to capitalise on the teachable moment before Sanger came out of the lockers and chased Waller down to the ring as we headed for a match between the two. Waller was taking a beating right off the bat and being tossed around all over the ring. Waller managed to get a drop kick and sent Sanger outside, but he missed the baseball slide. Waller then sent Sanger headfirst into the ring post before sending him back into the ring. Waller followed that up with a diving stunner and picked up the win. I mean, yeah, this gets a 6 out of 10 from me. Don't get me wrong, the match was fine, but I just kind of feel like Sanger should have got the win here. I mean, it's good for Grayson Waller, but Sanger, big guy, yeah, he needs to be winning more, really. We then got a promo with Roxanne Perez, aka Roxy, will make her debut next week or maybe later tonight. Toxic Attraction came out to team moralise her, and JC Jones challenged Perez to a match tonight. Setting up that feud, you'd love to see it. Legado got Phantasm versus GYV was up next. Legado had control early on, a double team move from James Drake before Zach Captain was tagged in. Drake blocked the suplex but took a Rana from the top rope as the match went on. Legado then hit tandem DDTs before sending Gibson out of the ring. The duo then hit a double team high-low and picked up the victory. Yeah, after the match, Santos Escobar called out Carmelo Hayes and told Tony D'Angelo to watch how he conducts business, just setting up that feud really. But yeah, on the whole, that match gets a 6 out of 10, it was fine. Before Jean Quinn and Wesley were caught in backstage arguments, setting on a match with Fun and Henry, and we seen attacking Elektra Lopez in the lockers. But then soon after, we did get Carmelo Hayes versus Santos Escobar, so kind of two matches leading into one. Hayes had the early advantage and locked in a submission on the rope before Escobar hit a big drop kick. Escobar followed out with a top rope crossbody before Hayes came back with a springboard thanks to a distraction from Trick outside. Back after break, Escobar got a big stalling vertical suplex before hitting the arrows from the depth of hell. Two guys in seats showed up at ringside and beat Escobar down with a crowbar before sending him back into the ring. Hayes then hit the flying leg drop to pick up the win. After the match, Hayes called out Grimes, who came to the ring, but before he stepped inside, Zoe Sikoa came in from behind and took Hayes and Williams out. Yeah, this match gets a 7 out of 10 for me. This was a really, really fun match for me. Right result too, and the tag team match, yeah, that was okay as well. So yeah, on the whole, the second match gets a 7, first match gets a 6. But yeah, both pretty decent. Braun Breaker was still looking for his dad and Joe Gacy before walking into a room filled with mirrors. He broke out the sounds of mouth to Gacy's reflection was seen behind him and yelled as NXT continued. Scary. Roderick Strong was backstage and told Malcolm Bivens that he didn't want an example of anyone who didn't follow Diamond Mine's mission before we got Natalya versus Tatum Paxley. Natty locked in an early submission after taking control of the match. Paxley countered out of a hold and kicked Natty off the apron to outside before taking a lariat at ringside. Natalya then sent Paxley back into the ring for a near fall before getting the inverted stair fall. Paxley came up and suplex for a near fall. Natalya took her down and knocked in a sharpshooter, making Paxley tap out for the quick victory. And yeah, this gets a 6 out of 10 from me. Just like establishing Natty in NXT before she goes after Cora Jade presumably. But yeah, for what it was fine. 6 out of 10. Tony D'Angelo was asked about his involvement with Attack on Santos Escobar tonight, but he said he had no idea who sent the attackers. Before Duke Hudson was having trouble communicating with Dexter Lumis and stormed out the lockers after Indy unsuccessfully tried to help them understand each other before we got Jean Quinn versus Wesley. Quinn had the early advantage, but Wesley got a kick and sent Quinn outside for a big dive. Quinn then sent Lee across the room before lifting him up for a fireman's carry. Lee forced out and hit a super kick, taking Quinn down. Lee went for a move of the ropes, but was met fist to the face. Quinn just went for the flying elbow and picked up the easy win. And yeah, this gets a 5 out of 10 from me. I don't know, good for John Quinn, but yeah, I feel so bad for Wesley. Obviously what happened was none of his fault, and it looks like he's going to have to pay the consequences for it in terms of his position with Carl. So yeah, such a shame. 5 out of 10. Backstage, Nikita Lyons was yelling at Natty, demanding a match before you got JC Jane versus Roxanne Perez. Roxanne started off strong and got a chop and some big move before taking super kicks to the face. Jane then got some near falls before Wendy Chu showed up on Titan Strong and was seen thrashing Toxic Attraction's locker. JC Jane then went for his distraction and Perez came in from behind, rolling her up to get the victory. And yeah, this was a really good introduction for Roxy. Came across as a big player already, and yeah, that's really good stuff. 7 out of 10 from me. Yeah, like I say, really enjoyed it. We then saw the Guardia del Fantasma's FUV was disabled before they noticed dead fish on the hood, hinting at D'Angelo being involved. But then it was time for main event, Pretty Deadly versus Dexter Lumis and Hudson for the belts. Lumis was being isolated in the ring by the champs before he managed to get a dive counter off a top rope. Duke Hudson then tagged in and sent the champions outside where they posed with Indy and Persia. Back in the ring, the champions were in trouble as Hudson and Lumis finally realised how to communicate with each other. The commentators didn't even tell the members of Pretty Deadly apart from matching outfits didn't help. After a break, the champions were unloading on Lumis in a corner, but Hudson broke up the pin. The latter was dropped, but he recovered and almost got out of the tag, but Kit Wilson dragged Lumis off the apron. Lumis and White Wilson out at ringside, but Elton Prince knocked him off the apron. In the end, Prince hit a big boot on Hudson and rolled him out for a pinfall victory after the distraction from Wilson. And yeah, I'll give it 7 out of 10. Decent stuff. You can tell that they want to go all in on Pretty Deadly, and they're doing a good job of that so far, and this match is pretty good as well. So yeah, get 7 out of 10 from me. Next on NXT, Joe Gacy showed up on the balcony in the arena, and Bron Breakker walked up to him. Gacy told Breakker that he could have Rick's Hall of Fame ring back, but only if he guaranteed Gacy a title match at Spring Break. Breakker accepted the challenge, and Gacy dropped in the high balcony to the floor before some people in black showed up and swarmed the NXT champion as the show went off the air. I mean, like, this was very strange, but you know, at least we're getting a match. At least it's been set up. The build has been a bit weird so far, but you know, I'm looking forward to the match nevertheless. Overall, NXT gets a 6 out of 10 from me this week. I mean, like, yeah, this was a really mixed episode of NXT. There's some matches that were really good, like the introduction of Roxy, but, you know, some bits that weren't quite so good. So, you know, I mean, like, there were definitely some ups, definitely some downs. But yeah, on the whole, I'd say it's just a bit of an average show overall, when you consider it all. But anyway, guys, that's the video. Thanks very much for watching. Remember to like, share, subscribe, make thoughts, comments, down below, find us in the description for daily wrestling news, and subscribe to the channel on the screen, but that'd be greatly appreciated. Thanks very much for watching. Peace.